I'm here with quantum surfer Michael Collette. We've had a beautiful journey together, and I thought we would take a few moments for Michael to be able to share what his whole experience of quantum surfing has been all about. So welcome, Michael.
It's great to be here, Monica. For the last 30 years or so, I have been moving around the planet, living in different places, and all the while sort of pursuing interests that I had in different types of ventures. And so I've been running ventures of one sort or another since about 2002. I think I've now run 4 companies myself, 3 of which exited successfully. I do feel very lucky. I've had the opportunity to kind of pursue my interests and make things happen in a way that I enjoy. And you know, when I write my bio, I always say I'm always looking for companies with a good story to tell. Above all, I love the creative process. The creative process in industry is coming up with a plan and persuading a bunch of people to join that plan, some with their money, some with their time, and getting them all to go figure out how to turn the plan into something real. And then growing it and, you know, getting people to buy it. And it's just that whole process. I love the creative process. I've always described early stage startup work as more like producing a movie. What makes that work well is kind of getting all the people in the company aligned. And there's this kind of harmony of energy, right? I mean, and I know that sounds kooky Marini, but it's exactly right. You know, that's what makes early stage stuff fun is you can have 20 people who are all, it's not that you're going to kind of solve world hunger, but you're going to go make a thing happen that you believe is worth doing. And that's exciting. And I think that when you kind of look at what quantum surfing is about, in a lot of ways, it's kind of aligning the atoms and aligning the people and aligning the energy in the room, right? And honestly, the companies that have that good energy tend to make things happen. Good things tend to happen to those companies, right? I felt like I had kind of achieved the major part of my goals that I had kind of set out on when I was in my mid to late 20s and kind of the business school timeframe. You know, I run a bunch of companies, had a bunch of fun, done a bunch of stuff, you know, in a position where I can at least have the freedom to think about doing other things. As I kind of think about moving from the front 9 to the back 9 in life, I'm like, I don't really know what I want to do at all. Right. I really felt completely unprepared for what might be another phase of life. But the really important thing, and the reason why I kind of like the golf analogy, was I didn't want to just retire. I wanted to keep playing. And I just was sure that the process would at least help me think about what to do next. But it absolutely did. A lot of quantum surfing was kind of a big affirmation, right? And because, you know, I think of myself as having lived my life a somewhat unique way. You provided me with a framework to continue forward into my next phases of life with the confidence that it's going to work. I listen to my feelings more now. You know, you often talk about feeling to do something. I certainly do that more now. I certainly do that more. And that in part kind of helps me a bit with what projects I choose to take on. I probably ought to go through and do the whole thing again. And everybody who hears me, who's thinking about doing quantum surfing, you will find it's not something you learn, it's a practice. And it's not something you're good at having listened to the whole thing once. It's something you start to vaguely grok having listened to the whole thing once. And getting good at it, I think you have to spend some time on it. I think quantum surfing is going to really work best and kind of have the biggest impact on people who already have a fair amount of self-awareness. You know, I think central to that is also some real regard for the truth. Understanding themselves in a truthful way, understanding the world in a truthful way, the connection between these two things, because that's sort of, it's not quantum surfing, but without that kind of truth structure in place, the rest of it's sort of harder to grok. And you may not be quite as open to it as I think you kind of need to be. My personal framework for how and why I live in the world was really gathering a lot of dust. So I think for people who have a regard for the importance of kind of updating and thinking through what they want to do where they want to go, what kind of life they want to live. This stuff is awesome. For people who are interested in sort of revitalizing that framework, it's awesome. It's awesome.